Windy and the Lost Key. A Christmas Story. Chapter 3. Mr. Woodworm, the Toymaker. Eventually, they came across a weeping willow tree, with attractive trailing branches and leaves so long and green, that they seemed to reach for miles. They looked like long fingers crawling over the floor. The gang stopped and stood in front of the tree. They looked up and up and up. It was so tall that they could barely see the sky beyond.
Wow!
Wow!
Marie and Debbie cried in unison.
That's the crawling willow tree,
said Katie.
It's so big,
whispered Debbie, trying to catch Windy as he began running and jumping around the tree trunk, biting at the leaves as they wrapped themselves around his long body.
As long as this willow tree is alive and green, it will protect all who live in Arbor Kingdom, especially Rainbow Mountain. Those who have tried to kill it have never been seen again. Stories are told that they get picked up by the long crawling branches, which wind themselves around the bodies of their enemies and lift them high up into the top of the tree.
Why would anybody want to kill such a magnificent tree? And why does Rainbow Mountain need protecting?
asked Marie.
Inside Rainbow Mountain, inside a chest, lie many precious stones called obsidians. Many years ago, this volcanic glass was mined and used by armies to make powerful daggers and swords to defeat their enemies and win many battles. Its imposing, mysterious black hue has perhaps also made it an amulet of protection,
said Katie.
It's been said to contain potent properties which make for a great defensive spell.
They hurried on past the crawling willow tree and came to a clearing in the wood. There, down a small hill, was Toyland. As they entered the rather large wooden gates, which were guarded by two very serious-looking toy soldiers, into Toyland, the first building they saw was the town hall. It was truly an eerie sight. So many toys forgotten. No matter how many toys made their home in this land now, you couldn't help but be overcome with loneliness. Life had not just come to a stop, it had completely disappeared. From the outside, the town hall looked uncomfortable, uninviting, and unfriendly. Large stones and stone beams made up most of the building's outer structure. It was impossible to see through the closed window, but the somber mood from within could be felt outside. Yet there was something in the air, a sense of magic and new life just around the corner. The group hurried past the town hall.
First we must find Mr. Woodworm, the Toymaker,
said Katie.
He makes all the toys in Toyland, so he will definitely have a key that will help make Windy bark again.
There is Mr. Woodworm's shop,
Marie pointed out, seeing the sign for the toy shop before the others did. As they headed up the path towards the shop, it was easy to see its similarity to the structure of a house you would live in, with its low, square-shaped roof covered in red tiles. One small chimney poked out the center of the roof. Many smaller windows let in plenty of light to the rooms below. On either side of the path was a modest garden, covered mostly in grass, and a few flower patches and with a small pond. The sign above the front door said, "The Nodding Toad Shop," and an actual green toad sat bobbing about on the spot. As they entered through the old wooden door, they were welcomed by the crackling and heat of a roaring fire at the far end of the room. Mr. Woodworm stood behind a large counter, coughing into a dirty handkerchief, and made no effort to acknowledge their presence. The shop itself was packed. Several long tables ran the length of the room and were occupied by what seemed to be dwarves working away quietly on a variety of broken toys. The gang had to weave their way through the tables to get to the counter, having to step over broken toys that littered the cobblestone floor.
Good morning, Mr. Woodworm,
greeted Katy politely, as she gently took Windy from Debbie and put him on the counter.
Hello, children,
beamed Mr. Woodworm, looking up, putting his handkerchief in his pocket and wiping his hands on his apron. He was a tall, round man with golden wavy hair, slightly covering a craggy, happy face. Beady silver eyes set deep within their sockets, watched protectively over his dwarf workers.
what can I do for you on this fine Christmas morning?
He asked.
It's Windy, the clockwork dog,
Replied Katy.
He was blown off Father Christmas's sleigh this morning. I tried to save him, but the wind was much too strong and I got blown off too. And when we landed, I couldn't find the key to wind him up anywhere. Now poor Windy has lost his bark.
Please can you give us another key, Mr. Woodworm,
Debbie pleaded.
so we can wind Windy up, and he can bark again?
Mr. Woodworm walked over to the toy shop window and, rubbing his pointy chin, looked towards the sky. Turning back to the small group, with a strange look on his face, he said,
Can you describe the wind for me, please, Katy?
It was very strong, dark and powerful. It was so cold, as though it could freeze us in minutes.
She said, sounding suddenly very worried, and stroking Windy's head as though to calm herself as he nuzzled her hand.
It stopped as soon as I climbed through Marie and Debbie's playroom window.
She finished, looking at Mr. Woodworm.
That, my dear, was no ordinary wind. Those were the dark elves. They now live in Jagged Wood, at the far side of Mysterious Wood, and are not to be trusted.
Mr. Woodworm told them as he walked back around the counter.
Dark elves,
Said Debbie as she tried to comfort Marie, who was now hiding behind her little sister.
who, or, what are they?
Mr. Woodworm rubbed the back of his thin neck and said,
Dark elves are known for their aggression, deceit, and stealth. They are very brutal and cruel by nature, having little mercy when it comes to cheating, battling, or anything dealing with the life of another being. They have little respect for even their own kind at times, waging war against each other.
Katy, who had been concentrating on Windy, suddenly spoke up.
I thought it might be, but I wasn't sure. I have never seen one before.
How did they come to be dark elves?
Asked Marie.
If you enjoyed this story, you can find more in this channel. Please like and subscribe. Thank you and have a good time.